You are listening to PastThink.com audiobook. Please like and subscribe, thank you. Chapter 94. Kong Ming defeats the Chong tribes in a snowstorm. Sima Yi swiftly defeats Meng Da. Hua Huai reminds Chaozhen that for years the Chong tribes have brought tribute to the court. He suggests that, if Wei offered an imperial princess to be married into the tribal chieftain's family, then they could ask for soldiers from the tribes in return. Chaozhen sends a formal letter of proposal, and within weeks 150,000 Chong tribesmen are on their way, along with their invincible iron-plated war wagons, some drawn by horses, some by camels. The army moves to the Shiping Pass, where Hanjin the Shu commander is in charge. Responding to his call for help, Zhang Bao and Guanzhong offer to go, even though Kong Ming points out they do not know the terrain very well. Despite such a warning and his own serious personal reservations, they are off, leading 50,000 men. Their first engagement with the enemy is a disaster. At the crucial moment, as the Shu troops surge forward, the Chong lines part, and out come the iron wagons. These invincible wagons are filled with archers and crossbowmen. Out fly arrows and crossbow bolts in vast numbers. The Shu troops fall apart before such an attack. Guanxing in particular is caught by this move, and has to flee, hotly pursued by a Chong commander called Yueji. The chase brings Guanxing to a river, into which he and his horse leap, but a blow from Yueji's mace fells the horse and Guanxing is thrown into the water. Thinking his time has come, Guanxing struggles to at least rise above the water, when he sees Yueji's men riding off as fast as they can into the distance, pursued by a strange warrior. A new contender has arrived and has single-handedly scattered the enemy. Guanxing almost manages to kill Yueji, but he fights back and escapes from the riverbank, abandoning his horse. Guanxing takes Yueji's horse in place of his own fallen one, and rides off following the mysterious warrior, whose intervention has saved his life. But no matter how hard he rides, he cannot catch up with the stranger, until suddenly a swirling mist arises and surrounds the figure. Then and only then does Guanxing realize it is none other than his father Guan Yu, riding his famous steed, Red Hair. From out of the mists Guan Yu speaks, "Go that way, my son, that way lies safety. I will watch over you until you reach the camp." And then he disappears. Following his father's directions, Guanxing eventually runs into Zhang Bao, who is out looking for him. Zhang Bao too has seen Guan Yu. "I was being pursued by those iron wagons," says Zhang Bao, "when suddenly your father descended from the clouds and scattered them. Then he pointed in this direction and said, 'Go this way and rescue my son.'" When they return to the camp, Ma Dai welcomes them, and says he has no idea how to defeat the iron wagons, so he has written to Kong Ming asking for help. When Kong Ming arrives, he surveys the enemy and their formidable wagons and draws up his plan. It is midwinter. "Snow is coming," he says. "Just what I need for my plan to succeed." So saying, he dispatches various commanders and their troops with specific instructions. Jiang Wei is told to advance on the enemy lines of the Chong soldiers, and then to retreat, leaving the way open for an attack on the Shu camp. This he does, putting in place the first part of Kong Ming's plan. The attacking Chong soldiers with their iron wagons in tow burst into the almost deserted enemy camp, and see the figure of Kong Ming in his famous carriage disappearing through the back gate, and so set off in pursuit. The Chong troops led by Yueji and Commander Yaden are hot on the heels of not just Jiang Wei and his men, but even more significantly Kong Ming himself, and so they redouble their efforts. There is some concern that they might be being lured into an ambush, but glancing around over the snow-draped landscape, they see nothing to alarm them, so the iron wagons roll on, invincible as before. Suddenly there comes a terrible smashing sound. The iron wagons have rolled into pits, hidden under the snow, and have crashed down in ruin. From the left and from the right arrows pour down into the pits, slaying the Chong soldiers, as Jiang Wei, Ma Dai, Zhang Yi, Guanxing, and Zhang Bao attack. Yueji himself is killed by Guanxing, and Yaden captured. Typically, and with his usual wisdom, Kong Ming pardons Yaden, and in return the Chong people pledge not to rebel again, and depart back to their own lands. Confusion as to what has happened to the Chong leads Chaozhen to believe the Shu army has been defeated, and so he advances, only to be attacked by Wei Yan. Two of his senior commanders die in the ensuing battle. Chaozhen and Guohuai almost perish in the battle, as well, and only just escape from an attack by Guanzhong and Zhang Bao. When news is brought to Chao Rui at his court, alarm and despair overwhelm him. It is then that his advisor Zhong Yao makes a bold suggestion: bring back Sima Yi and give him responsibility for the army and the defense of Wei. Mightily relieved, the ruler agrees, and Sima Yi is ordered to proceed to Chang'an. Back at Kong Ming's camp, now at Qishan after yet more victories, news comes which seems to offer even greater success. Meng Da, who surrendered to the Wei Empire, has decided to change sides again, seize the areas of Jincheng, Xincheng, and Shangyong, and then march on Luoyang. With Kong Ming now planning to strike out for Chang'an, it looks possible that both ancient capital cities could fall to the Shu. But when news comes of Sima Yi's restoration and new powers, Kong Ming is deeply troubled. Sima Yi is formidable, and if he takes on Meng Da, it will be Sima Yi who will win. So saying, he sends a messenger to Meng Da, warning him to beware of Sima Yi and to build up the defenses rapidly to deflect any attack. But when Meng Da reads the message, he smiles rather condescendingly, saying he has heard Kong Ming often worries too much. So he sends back a letter saying there really is no need to worry too much about Sima Yi, because he is so far away, and that gives Meng Da at least a month to repair the defenses. When he receives the letter, Kong Ming is furious and says he's doomed. When asked why, Kong Ming quotes the art of war: attack the enemy before he is ready, do what no one expects. He doesn't have a month, because Sima Yi will not wait for permission, but will be on Meng Da within 10 days, and Meng Da will not be ready. And sure enough, Sima Yi does not wait for orders nor go to Chang'an as instructed. He realizes that Meng Da can be taken out of the equation by swift, decisive action. So he sets out with the army towards Meng Da. En route he meets up with his old fighting companion Su Huang, and their forces unite. Learning that Kong Ming has tried to warn Meng Da to be prepared for a surprise attack, Sima acknowledges the skills and wisdom of Kong Ming and urges on his men even faster. Meanwhile, Meng Da has been in touch with the governors of two neighboring cities, Jincheng and Shangyong, whom he believes are going to join his rebellion. They string him along, delaying sending their troops on the grounds of needing more time to prepare. Sima Yi, pretending not to know anything about Meng Da's planned rebellion, sends a message to him as if he were still a loyal commander of the Wei forces, asking him to be ready to march to Chang'an. When Meng Da asks where Sima Yi is, he is told he is already marching to Chang'an. Thinking the coast is clear for his own attacks, Meng Da is delighted by this news. He gives orders to prepare to advance on Luoyang. But no sooner has he said this than a vast cloud of dust is to be seen, clear evidence that a huge army is on its way. Rushing to the battlements, Meng Da sees the great warrior Su Huang ride up to the gate and demand, "Open the gates, you traitor." Furious at the tricks that have been played on him, Meng Da fires an arrow, which strikes Su Huang in the head. He dies later that night, by which time Sima Yi and the whole army have enclosed the city. The next day Meng Da sees to his relief 2 columns of troops marching towards the city. These are the soldiers from Jincheng and Shangyong, whom Meng Da believes are on his side. He rushes out with his own troops to greet them, only to find out that they too have betrayed him. In the debacle that follows, Meng Da is not only defeated but killed, while Sima Yi enters the city as a hero. Having dealt with the threat from Meng Da, Sima Yi now marches to Chang'an and presents himself to the Wei ruler. There Chao Rui apologizes for having listened to bad advice, and demoted him, and congratulates him on taking out Meng Da's threat. Now they turn their thoughts to the battle against Kong Ming, and Sima Yi asks that Zhang He be appointed as his vanguard commander. This is readily agreed by the Wei ruler. Together, Sima Yi and Zhang He leave to confront Kong Ming. So who is going to win? Shall we find out?